Hey guys, so last week I went on a little adventure. I traveled down to Arizona for the Tucson Bicycle Classic, and this is one of the larger stage races in the country that happens early on in the season here in the United States. And I didn't really have any expectations results wise. I wanted to stay safe and I wanted to learn. Those were my two main goals. And I did learn a lot. There were a lot of fast guys there, and I wanted to make a little video documenting the main things I took away from the race, whether we saw javelina, whether we ate tacos, all the important things. So let's jump right in, and feel free to jump in the comments. Thank you all to the new subscribers and the people that have commented on that Merced video. It kind of blew up, which is really cool. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you. Have you done one of these big stage races? Have you flown to a race? It's all somewhat intimidating to do these things, and I would love to learn from you guys just as much as I'm sure you're looking to learn from me. So yeah, jump into the comments and let's talk about this. So the Tucson Bicycle Classic is a 3-day race. It consists of 3 stages, or 2 stages and a prologue. The prologue time trial was 3.5 miles on kind of a rolly course. Then there was again, kind of a rolly road race and a rolly circuit race that were each 80 and 50 miles. So I was in the Pro 1 race, so it attracted a very star-studded field. The main teams were Project Echelon, which they've been bossing the American stage race scene. And then we had a couple, I guess, actually the only NCL teams, which is the National Crit League. And those were the Denver Disruptors and Miami Knights. And they are very well funded. Svein Tuft is the DS of the Denver Disruptors, which it was really cool seeing him just walking around. He was like giving feeds in the feed zone, which is just insane. And yeah, those guys have, very, very strong riders. Former Tour de France riders are out there. And yeah, it made for very, very fast and exciting racing. And just to not hoard it over you guys, I finished 41st out of 68 in the GC. So nothing to write home about, but I was fine with it. Like I said, I just wanted to learn and be safe. And yeah, mid to backpack, I guess. It's not where I want to be, but I was happy with it, especially because this was my first time at a race of this caliber. All right, so now let's talk about what I learned. And I want to start off by talking about the lead up to the race. So we all know that traveling by itself is pretty hard and stressful, and doing it with your bike into a hard athletic event kind of magnifies everything. And all I can say is do your best to plan things out to limit stress. Pack your bike up early, make a checklist of things and check them off as you pack them away. You hear horror stories of people forgetting their seat post or something that's pretty key to their bike and that ruining their weekend. So I recommend doing this, a couple days before if you can. Start packing not at 11 p.m. the night before your flight. And then about your flight, maybe try to pick a midday flight rather than something super early or super late. Get to the airport early, get good sleep the nights prior to all this. But overall, prepare yourself to kind of roll with the punches. So my bike actually got lost. Southwest sent it to LA instead of Tucson for some weird reason. And luckily it all worked out, but it did spike my cortisol and everything. So just try to mentally prepare and know that everything won't go perfectly smooth, but really do your best to try to limit stress and make things go smoothly. And I think the pros, we all just think they're pros at, pedaling their bike, but I think they really are pros at all of this stuff. The traveling, it's not easy, and you do get better at it with practice. But I think being a pro bike rider isn't all about riding bikes. It's all this other stuff. And some other things about traveling, I don't want to get super political, but I wore a mask when I was on the flight. you're in and around a bunch of people, and you're gonna be doing this hard athletic event, so your immune system is gonna take a hit. So I would recommend, washing your hands, maybe wearing a mask, and just trying to limit the likelihood of you getting sick, not only for your own personal health, but also the health of your teammates and the people that you're probably going to be rooming with. It sucked to be the guy to bring in a bug and then ruin everyone's time at the race. Okay, now let's talk about the racing, probably what you guys are most interested in. And starting off with the time trial, we had a little bit of a wrench thrown in our plans because my bike got lost. We were delayed getting down to Tucson, and we weren't able to make it out to pre-ride the course. And that kind of proved to be a pretty large error because we weren't allowed to pre-ride the course the day of, and they weren't even letting people ride backwards on the course. So we had no idea how the hills were kind of spaced out. We saw the profile that they gave in the tech guide, but it wasn't super helpful. And basically, most of the climbing was in the last third of the time trial. And we all know that time trialing is very, very much about pacing. And I totally blew up. I like time trials. I'm super interested in them, and I did some in college, but I didn't have a power meter back then. I don't even know if I had a heart rate monitor. So I'd basically just go out and smash. And what happened with this time trial was I went way too hard in the first minute or two. And yeah, I was trying to shoot for about 380 or 390 for 9 minutes, which is, I've done that before, but I went way too hard and kind of blew up and ended up kind of in that lower third, not super far off from a lot of the pro guys in the time trial, but not great. And the next day was the road race, and they kind of tortured us. They made us start at 7:30 in the morning, and Tucson is known for being warm around this time of year. It's really temperate, but it was like 35 degrees when we started. And that was tough. I was really glad that I overpacked and I brought, cold weather things. Like I brought some thick gloves, tons of layers. But yeah, that was a bummer to start when it was so cold. And the main thing I took away about the road race was it's really hard to be at the front of these races. There's a lot of fighting and it's just really, really fast. And I think I wasted a lot of energy the first couple of laps just trying to be near the front because that's how I race local races. I want to be in that top third, preferably even higher up. And with something like this, I think if you don't have any business being at the front, which is either you're pulling or you want to get in the breakaway, don't be at the front. Try to be conserving energy as much as you can. Be at that back of the pack, try to tail gun. And that was something that applied for the circuit race as well. I found myself trying to move up and then, just burning a bunch of energy because everyone is just wicked strong in these races. The other thing that was really interesting to watch was how comfortable these guys are riding super close together and doing things like pulling off jackets, pulling off knee warmers, pulling off shoe covers, all while going like 35 miles per hour on a descent, with the pack all around you. It was incredible to see. So I think I always thought my pack riding skills were like solid, but this was a whole new level. These guys are so comfortable riding bar to bar with people. It was, way closer together than even a P12 race in Northern California. So the last thing about the road and circuit race was both days there was a center line rule in effect. So we only had one lane to race in, and the field was like 70 guys. So it wasn't super small, and with everyone being so strong, we were fanned out across the road quite a bit, and that just made moving up very, very difficult. And I think with local races, most people can basically move up whenever they want. The fields are smaller, there's less of a speed differential, and with this race, it was just, I was finding it very difficult to move up, and I was finding that I was way too far back in both the finishes. And I think just going forward, my teammate Zach, he had two amazing results. He had top 15s in the circuit and road race. And he was just amazing at picking his way through the pack. So check out his YouTube channel. I think he's going to put some videos up from these races, and he did a lot better job moving up than me. I'll try to talk about this more in the race analysis videos, but yeah, it's a whole different ball game at these races. And I guess I should state the obvious, but you obviously want to be eating your carbs, recovering, getting good sleep all throughout the stage race. It's very important. We ate some tacos that were like a little gnarly, and it kind of upset my stomach for a day or so. So I would just recommend, eat foods that you're familiar with, the same stuff that you eat to prepare for a race at home. Let me know if you want me to make a video about this in the future. But yeah, just try to keep yourself healthy and keep recovering, because it is stressful. These were shorter stages, but it still was a lot of stress. But yeah, that's basically my video diary, I guess, about the Tucson Bicycle Classic. It was super fun. Keep in mind that we're doing this for fun, guys. That's the main goal. And I had a blast with my teammates. So I'm excited to travel to the next race whenever it is. And I appreciate you all watching, especially if you've made it this far. Let me know in the comments if I forgot anything. Let me know what you think about racing like this. And keep an eye out for those race analysis videos. We're doing 2 races this weekend as well. So lots of content to come. And yeah, I appreciate y'all. See you soon.